Okay, so today is day 2 of our law of attraction slash is it a hoax kind of theory, right? So I forgot to add this to the video yesterday, the first one. So whether you believe in the law of attraction or not will depend on several things, right? So they say it's like the law of gravity. It's always working, right? You can believe in it or you can't in that mindset, because Henry Ford, who was not going to, or he wasn't into mentalism or spirituality, I can't even say it, being spiritual, right? He was out to sell cars, right? And because there wasn't cars at the time, all you had to do is create the production line and they sold themselves, right? He said, whether you think you're right or whether you think you're wrong, you're right. So if you choose to believe in the law of attraction and it works for you, you're right. If you choose not to believe in it and it's not working for you, you're also right. So in that whole kind of mindset, right, you can choose to believe in whether or not it works. Now, I'm going to give you some examples from my life. And by the way, Henry Ford, supposedly, the Think and Grow Rich book and Napoleon Hill was granted access by Andrew Carnegie to, he got a letter from him saying, go interview all these people. So he interviewed Henry Ford, Edison, I don't know if he interviewed Emerson, but he refers to Emerson a lot. So he was granted access of these titans of industry back then, right? And in that whole time between 1900 and 1930, and this book came out after 1930 to help people that had gone through the Depression, the Think and Grow Rich and the Principles of Success. Supposedly Henry Ford removed parts of these books because he owned the publishing companies or knew the people that own the publishing companies, and that's supposedly what has been said. I don't know what parts of it he would remove, because the law of attraction for me has worked in interesting ways, and that's why we'll go through this chart, which many other people have talked about. And so what's interesting about it is that whether you believe or whether you don't, it will work for you if the right circumstances happen. If you don't want to believe in it, it still seems to be working. There's some kind of magic, right, in your life, right? Examples of this is they always tell you, focus on a purple butterfly or a blue butterfly or something like that. I've had it in my life where it has come in different times in my life. So one thing that happened to me is when I was 17 years old, I was driving to Thanksgiving and I was single and young, and there was a car that passed me, and it was a black Mercedes 4-door. The wife is in the passenger seat and the son and daughter, and they look so happy. And fast forward in my life, I was 17 at the time. When I was 32, I ended up driving to my parents' house, and there was my wife in the car and my son and daughter, and we were driving a black BMW. So that was one instance that, kind of sparked it. Through this trajectory of how I've used the law of attraction and whatnot, the hardest part about the law of attraction for me is detachment, right? So detachment, so you have to know what your intent is. Sorry, I'm trying to get this whiteboard so that you can see it with the right lighting. I apologize for that. But back to the point. So detachment of it is know your intent, using a blue pen and white paper to write out what you want. And if you haven't seen the first episode, my 30-day goal is to find a job that I enjoy going to, or, because I have one now, I just want more that something that fulfills me, right? So through this process, I am going to go through, and which is funny, not to get off the, detachment. Yesterday I applied I was going to do 15 jobs, but then it's so time consuming to apply to jobs right now, because not only do you have to, it's not just send in your resume anymore, it's literally go to their site, create a login. Then once you create a login, then you're going to answer a bunch of questions. And on one of them, it said I did not have 3 years of, I was applying for more of an AI sales rep person, and they wanted what's called a full stack engineer. And a full stack engineer understands how the app or website works from the beginning all the way to the end, right? So from when you log onto that, where they keep your information stored, all of that, how the app runs, right? And I have experience in that. That being said, with that, I didn't have 3 years of full stack. I didn't put that I had full stack. I put like 1 year or 2 year, right? And it asked me, why should you apply for this job? And I literally wrote in there, I have nothing to lose. Like, if they don't give me the job, I just keep on going. And it was very interesting because I became very playful with applying for jobs. I know several people that, make $300,000 plus, right? And I've seen these people, some of them are alcoholics, some of them use Adderall, like some of them are cocaine addicts. Like, you thinking that you're less than some other people in this world is literally you doing damage to yourself, because there's a lot of people out there that literally do less than you, are less smarter than you, and make more money than you. Now, the question is, does money make you happy? And so let's go through this. I was fortunate during the 2005, well, kind of fortunate, to be able to buy some houses. Now, I couldn't afford those houses, right? And they ended up going back to the bank. So I could have flexed during that time, got followers, whatnot, saying, hey, I sell real estate, da-da-da. I bought $1 million worth of houses. This is what you do. And I did become a real estate agent. What's funny is that both those houses ended up going back to the bank, which we have this level down here. During that time, I had to move out of my one house and I had to find some place to live with a wife and kid. Along came one of my neighborhood friends saying, hey, I can't afford this house anymore. I bought it with my boyfriend. He said he was going to pay for it. What can I do? And I said, well, I became a short sale agent, and this was 2008 or so. And I said, well, I can short sale it. Well, I figured out how to short sale it from her to my wife, who wasn't on my houses. And so we ended up getting a $600,000 house for $300,000. If you want to say that's the law of attraction or don't, that's a lucky break. And I've noticed this with a lot of wealthy people. They refer to luck several times, right? Now, is that luck because of 10 years of working and fine-tuning and getting their mind in the correct place? So that's a good question, right? Fast forward, had the house, was making money, got divorced, right? We go down to the next low level. Wanted to change careers into website marketing, did that, went back up, right? And so then 2003 came along, COVID came along. I was doing fine through COVID. It was actually, the websites were selling a lot, whatnot. Then 2003 came along and a lot of the money disappeared in my industry. And so then I'm down here right now. And what's interesting about this whole thing is do you attract into your life not only good and bad things? Or are they just preparing you for next level? So if I would have been back here, hindsight is 2020, right? Savings would have saved me, right? Also having a dedicated income, right? So I've been self-employed for over 20 years now. And when you're self-employed, those checks don't always come in. You got to figure out ways to scramble and make money. That being said, these two things would have helped me And if you're starting a business, keep that full-time job, because you don't know how the industry will change, right? Or have savings, one of the two. But you could burn through either one of these. And you can look at even like Elon, right, in 2009, before the sales started coming in for Tesla, he was going to sell Tesla to Google, right? And now he's one of the richest people in the world. He dumped all of his money into Tesla and SpaceX. Like, he could have just retired on the $220 million he got from PayPal, but no. He dumped it all back in there, almost lost everything, and then it went. So he's, even if you don't want to use me, Elon Musk, in the way that his has gone up and down. Same thing with other great people. While they were going up, they had uncertainty, and they had to become a certain type of person. And sometimes I believe, and other people have said this, is that going down is just creating the skills you need to go back up. And for me, obviously, saving money, having a guaranteed income while I continue to pursue my own personal dream. So that's kind of wrapped up for our day two. Just basically is, whether you believe in it or whether you don't, it's working, or some belief is working, because I have seen more miracles from other people, including myself, that are like, wait, how can that be true? How can that happen? How can out of somewhere money show up, right? So the more you don't believe, right, the more you probably flatline this curve. Instead of being like this, up and down, right, you just flatline it down here, and you just accept the programming that has been taught to you through your parents and your grandparents and everything like that. I can never be rich, right? If you say repeatedly, I can never be rich, you'll never be rich, right? Because you're basically self-programming. If you watch more of the news, and the news tells you, oh, only the rich get to do X, Y, and go to St. Bart's and things like that. You can buy a boat, a sailboat, and go to St. Bart's along with them and hang out with rich people. You can live off-grid. There's so many options, you know, to further yourself. You can start a YouTube channel, which is, by the way, a great thing. If you've been thinking about starting a YouTube channel, I definitely recommend it, because, hold on, I gotta check my time. This camera only records for so long before it cuts out. I did a video yesterday. I don't know if it has any views. So you get all scared and fearful that, you know, you're out here on YouTube telling people, you know, the secrets and all about yourself. And the truth is, the YouTube platform is so oversaturated right now, even though it's still a, with time and effort, you can actually achieve whatever you want to achieve on it. But it's so oversaturated. Most of the videos that people start with are never seen. And you start to see those view counts climb, right? So if you thought about starting a YouTube channel, I definitely recommend you do it and keep at it. It's going to fail, right? You're going to go through this process, and eventually you're going to get to those 35, 80,000, 300,000 views. You know, Sam Sulek didn't start, and Chris Sebum, with, you know, a ton of great video content and all that. Even this setup right now is kind of hodgepodge, right? And as I continue this, because even though I do want to get a stable, steady job that I want to go to and work with people that are fun, I'm also going to continue this because I enjoy talking about it. And who knows, you know. But wrap up day two basically is, you know, if you believe it's a hoax, you're right. If you don't believe it's a hoax, you're right. Either case is the same thing. So you just have to find how your law of attraction works, or if you want to call it something else, you can. If you're so in your mind about how it's one way or the other way, you know, you could say, you know, magical things happen to me, right? And they will. Like, I've experienced in my own life. It's happened to me several times. I could flex so many times and then have it go completely to shit. So watch what you also take in online, because there's a lot of people that can rent luxury cars and act as if they are, you know, mystical influencers about the law of attraction, or say, I've made 7 figures, this year, blah, blah, blah. And maybe they have. But a lot of people can flex that and they won't be around in 2 or 3 years, because this normal tendency of changing who you are will happen to most people, right? So this wraps up for day 2. See you on day 3.